Hello everyone, this is Joe Brewer in Bioregional, Colombia. I'm sitting in the Biopark in Moncora right now. And what I want to share with you today is a bit more of the context for how we're doing this work in a territorial scale. Almost all of the videos so far have shown specific techniques in our food forest or at the nature reserve Origen del Agua. And I think it's really important to focus on those very practical, hands-on aspects of the work. But there's another part of this work that I haven't really made videos about yet, which is how we're really cultivating a capacity for a much larger bioregional scale, something like 500,000 hectares of land. And the way that we're doing this is that we started this whole process by raising money with the Bioregional Regeneration Fund, which enabled us to buy the land for Origen del Agua to set up a nature reserve. But also, we were able to have about $8,000 in surplus that we pulled together and invited representatives of other regenerative projects in the territory, which includes the Bioparque, but many others as well. About 15 projects were represented by the people who came together to form an advisory council. The idea here being that since the money came in from the outside and we wanted to develop a much larger capacity to integrate and connect across these different projects, that we formed an advisory council and made decisions together about what are the criteria for how we spend this money, what are the priorities for the territory, and how do we go about doing this. We came out with several really powerful interventions and ideas. One of them was that we would connect the landscape through ecological connectivity of watersheds and the flow of water, biological corridors for the migration patterns and movements of animals like birds and pollinating insects and mammals. And also that we would use the natural shapes of the landscape to socially organize people around water resilience as a major theme for this year. And that allowed us to take part of the money and, with inspiration from a women's fund that was developed in Brazil, create a framework for receiving proposals from the community for projects that are already happening and already ongoing, but have reached some kind of a bottleneck and need a direct transfer of money to help them to move forward. So we formed a work group within the advisory council. We put out a call from within the council itself and from people that were known by the members of this council. So this is like prototyping with a trusted core group of leaders. And we received 8 proposals from community groups, and we were able to fund all 8 of them. So, for example, we're funding a compost project for restaurants within the town of Barichara to show how to create the different kinds of bins and how to sort and separate the food waste, how to transport it, and how to set up a composting system that develops value for the community, builds soil for reforestation projects, and directs food waste from restaurants to these projects instead of to landfills. But also we funded an elementary school in the rural area of El Quino to receive a video camera so that they could make a YouTube channel and create videos documenting their efforts of monitoring the ecology of place and doing restoration work in their community for small children. Also, we were able to fund a project that is going to offer workshops about the native bees and how they work as pollinators and how you can work with the bees to make fantastic local honey from a biologist who lives in the area. And another project is for a different biologist who studies the relationship between birds and reforestation, who is working with us on Origen del Agua, who is setting up a monitoring system to restore a natural wellspring and increase the ecological connectivity between a groundwater supply and the animals and plants that interact around it. And there are actually 8 of these projects. These are only a few of them. But I wanted to just explain to you briefly that as we're doing this work project by project with our own hands, we also are gathering and cultivating leadership and creating institutional capacity to coordinate projects across the entire territory. And that this larger scale regenerative work has strong cultural and ecological dimensions. And it's a big part of what we're doing. So I hope you find some inspiration in knowing that you can work on your own local project, but also think and act at a larger scale by learning how to cooperate with others who are working in the same region as you are. And that we're doing a lot of this here in Barichara, and you can do it wherever you are too. So if you'll find inspiration from this part of the work, please let us know. You're welcome to join the Earth Regenerators community, where we're practicing and learning how to do this together. And of course, if you're so moved, I'll add a link in the bottom that you could support the Barichara Regeneration Fund. Thank you. Now go out and regenerate some degraded land where you are.